Okay, everyone, I am here and I am loading up the pre-composter. So, let me just show you. This was my mixing tub. I decided I needed a mixing tub. In fact, I decided I needed 2 mixing tubs. And these are what we are going to be using for the nurseries. These are the percolating wands that we made that go in the bottom, and so you can easily remove them from the tank because this just slides right through the drain hole on the side, and then this is to attach to the air compressor. So if you ever need to just supercharge the system with some air, we put those in before worms, and then it's just my backup since I haven't done these amendments. These are the eco agriculture and fertilizer, so then you can use these tanks again once you have them for the nursery or whatever. I mean, those percolators just pop right out. Okay, so I've used, so it's so nice to have them on those roller coasters. And then I just put this, it's a garbage. So we've mixed up 2 batches of this. This is a mix of leaves, spent hay. So I feed my sheep and then they drag pieces out and stomp all over it and they don't want it. So it was alfalfa, clover, orchard grass blend. And I have this handy dandy, this is a spreadsheet from the Soil Food Web, and it teaches you how to put together your recipes for your compost, and then it tells you what % of each to put in there. And what I really like is it breaks it down into 4 batches. So if you're doing a really large batch, it tells you how much of each individual material to add to your batch so that you keep it in proportion, I suppose. So what was super nice about this was I don't know what happened. Well, I think what happens is usually this compacts down. And so you think you're not going to fit it all in, but it ends up in the end, you really do. The other thing that I did when I measured it all the way to the top, and I measured the circumference of it at the top, which you can see these kind of taper down. So I over calculated the size of my composting tank here. So this is only 2 batches of the material, and then so I'm gonna have the recipe for sure in the future. That's about all I'm gonna want. It was a lot anyway, you know. I like a really good homogeneous blend mix. For some reason it's just what I prefer, so that I know all these materials are really in contact with each other. The nitrogen, the carbon, they call it the high nitrogen, then they call it the greens, which would have been my hay, and then the browns, which was my leaves. So that's just how I'm loading it up. You can see these are the risers, and I might push it down. I should have only measured up to about right here, because then I want to cover this with wool to get that initial hot phase going. I have a huge seed mat that I may in the future put under it. We'll see how this heats up. I started it last night, and I mixed it and made sure the moisture was correct. And then I thought, well, I'm going to leave it because some of these things were dry. So I thought I would let them soak for a little while. So I soaked them overnight. And then this morning I came in, turned it so that if any of the moisture had collected on the bottom, I mixed it in, and then I thought, okay, one of them felt, I felt a warm spot. So I think this is going to take off real quick. By tomorrow, we are going to have heat for sure. I mean, these materials were frozen. I brought them in last night. They were frozen, so I gave them really hot water to help bring the temperature up. Next time, what I'll probably do is bring the materials in, let them warm up, and then add hot water. What happened when I added the hot water was the materials were just so cold, it dropped my temperature down. And my goal is to get this temperature up and get it up quick. So, I'm always behind. But, look, next week I'll look in at this and say, oh, I'm so glad I got that done. So the nursery bins are ready. We're doing the pre-composting now so that we can have replacement bedding for the worms when we pull them down and move them to the nursery. Okay, so that's why I'm just scraping the bottom of this all off for the rest of it. And if I don't think I could get another. No, I think this is the perfect amount for the pre-composter. We're going to put a layer, sheep wool, probably 2 fleeces on the top. I'm going to put them in those. I should have them right here. I have some large, see these, mesh laundry sacks. So that'll just keep them contained so I don't lose pieces of it. And then I will probably lay one on kind of each side. And then stuff maybe some loose wool on the sides or some felt fleece. We'll see what works out best. Okay, that's it for pre-composter. I don't even remember now if I showed you. I believe I did show you the wand. So the wand will go back in this one. I suppose I can show you now how that works. If I just get the rest of this out of here. I don't even really need to get all this out of here. We are aerobic here, even though there's a lot of moisture. I really don't believe there's any type of concern with any human pathogens or anything like that, even though we're working with manure here. But it is those damp areas that end up causing problems. So, now we'll just, so what I do is I save those plugs from these water tanks. So you just lightly hand twist them and take the plug out. Okay. And then you're ready to get your nursery here ready. And you just take the wand, I don't know, can you see what I'm doing there? Place it through the opening, and then you've got your wand on the bottom. And you just pop that. We didn't glue them. So that way they're removable. We don't think there will be enough pressure build up to pop that off. We'll find out. And your nurseries are ready to go again. So, now I know I won't be able to use them if in the future I've got worms in these tanks. But if I, look, here's a worm. We'll put him in the, we'll put him one of our wild tanks, which are extreme diversity. So what happens is when you bring these things in from outside, you don't know where they're, and, they've been laying on the ground. The manure is definitely attracting the worms. I had the wood chip pile, had worms, and so even though it was cold, there were still little guys in there. So when we bring it in now, and this starts to heat up, we got to watch, because these worms are going to start to escape. If they're in there, they'll get hot and whoo, they'll want to fly out of the tank. So we can check on it throughout the day to make sure we are heating up. I do have the thermometer. We'll keep an eye on it and keep checking temperatures. Last night, I believe the temperature was 66 in the coolest spot. So I've got my thermometer here. And we can go ahead and check it this morning. I also have the composting thermometer here also. This is the big long one though. It's like 4 foot. But we might as well, since we got it in here, let's just go ahead and rest it in there. And temperature is coming up. We'll let that set for a moment. The top of this pile is at 63, 64-ish. Let me put the glove on and dig down in here for a temperature maybe towards the middle of this. We got a riser here we got to watch out for. And then once we hit these temperatures where we're going to need to turn, what we'll do is we'll just turn on the compressor. So the turning is basically, I think, to, well, cool it down, one. So I'm not feeling any real temperature difference. But down here, 67. So at least it's warmer down in there. I don't think, because I'm using this calculator from the Soil Food Web on my percentage of what, you know, greens, browns, and party food, that's the high nitrogen. That high nitrogen is what's going to give it that kickstart to start heating up. So since I've used that calculator and it told me my percentages and how much of each to add, we should be good to go. This is going to heat up like no problem. Ooh, look how dirty that is. Okay, I'm still alive. This will heat up. Now, if you're not using a calculator like that and you don't get your percentage right from carbon to nitrogen ratio, you may not get heat. So that's why I went ahead and I used the calculator to get my ratios proper, so I can be guaranteed this heat cycle. That's going to kill all the pathogens and all the weed seed. So like if the donkeys manure had a weed seed in there that happened to survive passing through, it's going to kill my weed seeds in there, and then it's going to break down some of these larger clumps and get those grass stems softened up. And then once we get through that heat phase, then we'll go to the maturation phase where we can really start increasing that bacteria for the worms to feed on. And then when we add it to the worms' already inoculated bin, then it'll re-inoculate this quicker. Okay, guys, let me know. I gotta hear it loud and clear. Cheer, cheer, cheer. And remember, if I'm going to keep this going, I need to know you guys are learning and you're thinking about doing the flip. You just don't know where to start. And so if you think you need to watch these, let me know so that I'll keep making them. Otherwise, this is just taking time away from getting this Earl, my donkey, he's outside. He can hear me talking and he's wanting to start crying because I didn't come see him yet and it's still dark out. It's a little early, Earl. Anyway, yeah, because otherwise, whew, you know, I'm trying to help people out and pass on knowledge. This is the way that I feel like I could do it the most, fastest way, because I can't sit down and speak to everybody one-on-one. There's just no time. There's just not enough of me. So y'all have to just watch video and get your fill. All right, thanks for stopping by and having a visit. checking out my new pre-composting system and my aerated nurseries. Give me some ideas that you might think that I would enjoy building, and we might give it a shot. Till next time, take care.